Saul. Oh my goodness. We have a half naked man in the scene. I repeat, we have a half naked man in the scene. Come this way, Saul. This is gonna go viral. This is going all over the place. Saul, don't be afraid. Come on. Hey, Saul. Welcome to the show.
What the hell is going on?
Listen. No. I got a question to ask you. What's your thoughts on this year's Super Bowl?
Let him cook.
I don't care about it, honestly.
What do you mean you don't care?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm not a football guy.
Oh my God, Frank, does he know anything about sports?
Do you know anything about sports? Like,
So,
is there anything you can talk about? What do you know?
I can't.
What do you mean you don't want to talk about it?
It's like a waste of energy.
What do you mean it's a waste of energy?
I'd rather look at the
Excuse me?
The sky?
Oh,
What the hell you mean by the sky?
So go back downstairs.
we have a damn hippie in this house, Frank.
We have
Are
a
you
show to
high?
do.
No, I'm not high. What
Are you
kind of-
sure? Because you're half naked in front of the camera right now. You sure you?
told me to come on here.
I did tell you to come on here. I didn't
Whoa.
think you would.
Are we live?
Pause.
We're not live. This is recorded.
All right.
Frank, tell him to take his calming pills and just get out of here.
We have a show to do. Lock in.
Back to you.
No, that was the show. Thanks, Frank. Welcome back to the show that still has no name. I'm your host, CJ Chides, with your co-host, Alan Jacob, a.k.a. LeBron James.
How are you
Alan,
doing?
how you doing today?
Good. Hype for tomorrow. Hype for
Right. Big game
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Big game.
That's right.
It all comes down to this.
Well, Alan, thank you so much for joining me in studio today. Yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alan, as you already touched on, big game ahead. It is Super Bowl Sunday weekend. I guess just what are your thoughts on the weekend? What are you looking
Big
forward
game,
to?
yeah.
I mean, obviously the game's a big draw in itself. What do you kind of think about the weekend in general?
I mean, the big game, big legacy on the line for Patrick Mahomes. This is his chance to take over Tom Brady in the overall GOAT discussions. So I would say
Wow.
the Chiefs have the biggest to gain. Eagles have the biggest to lose. But we can ask Frank that and get his intake on the game.
Yeah, that's right, Alan. Maybe not as you can see, but as you're about to see, Franklin Miller III joins us on the show once again. He is remote broadcasting from his bedroom while we're in the studio. So we welcome on Franklin the Miller III onto the show that still has no name. We're working on that. Sponsors, hit us up. Let us know. Frank, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Frank?
Wait, David Aldridge? David Aldridge?
No.
I can hear you loud and clear, CJ and LeBron James. How are you guys doing?
Great. Now, Franklin, first question is, why the hell do you have on shades inside? Are you still wearing those? I can't quite tell. I can't see which exactly you're doing, but I have a feeling that you have shades on inside. Can you confirm this?
Listen, man, all I got to say is the great Deion Sanders, or as known as Coach Prime now, always says it best. You look good, you feel good, you play good. And I have to have the shades on just to look good, feel good, and report good. That's all I got to say about that.
So when you look good and play good, you don't make the playoffs like the Colorado didn't?
So that's how we're going to do? Well, the joke's on you, man. I'm not a Colorado fan. I'm an ASU fan. And last time I checked, they didn't make the playoffs, Alan. Where was your team at? Huh? Where was your team at?
They missed the playoffs. What you mean?
Exactly my point. That's why you don't look good, feel good, and play good. Come on, let's get back to
Ohio State's my team.
Now, Franklin, next question. Is that a Joe Montana jersey that you're wearing?
Huh. It sure is, man. The real true GOAT, Joe Montana, 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, 2-time NFL MVP, and a multiple-time Pro Bowl caliber quarterback that's in the Hall of Fame. Oh, man. That's one of my
Bro,
this is
no
my
one cares
favorite
about that,
quarterback
Joe.
of all time. What do you mean you
It's
don't care about that, Joe?
It's
What
about
are you talking
Joe
about, Alan?
Namath. Ain't about
Joe
Joe
Namath.
Montana.
Namath.
Oh, my God.
Okay, hold on. Wait. We're already getting off the rails. Frank, I can't argue with 4 Super Bowl rings. I can't argue with that at all. So, I'm going to just leave that there where it is. But yes, Alan touched on an excellent point at the beginning of the show, talking about how he believes, I forget, what was your take? You said somebody has more to lose.
I said Mahomes has the biggest to gain. His chance to overtake Brady in the GOAT discussions. But the Eagles have a lot to lose tomorrow for the big game if they end up losing.
Yeah, Frank, what are your thoughts on this huge Super Bowl with many implications?
Yeah, like Alan said, there's just a lot on the line for the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they'll be the first team ever in NFL history to three-peat, which is insane to say because it's the 59th Super Bowl that's about to go down tomorrow night. But, yes, the most to gain from this is obviously Patrick Mahomes, who's already a 3-time Super Bowl champion, a 3-time Super Bowl MVP, a 2-time NFL MVP. And if he becomes a 4-time Super Bowl champion, a 4-time Super Bowl MVP, and three-peats, there's going to be a lot of conversations about him potentially being around Brady. I mean, he's obviously already doing all this before the age of 30. And if we're going based off the first, I want to say 7 seasons of his young NFL career, he's already surpassed Brady in so many categories, which is insane to think about. So he has the most to gain, as well as Andy Reid as well. He can obviously arguably go down as one of the greatest coaches, or he's already one of the greatest coaches of all time, but obviously he'd end up in that realm where we can argue with him and Bill Belichick. It's going to be hard to catch Bill Belichick because he has a total of 8 Super Bowl championships, but as a head coach, he has 6. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting game tomorrow, so can't wait to see how it unfolds.
All right, Frank, that's way too long.
Hold on, wait, let him talk, damn it.
Well, let me tell you something, okay?
Let him talk.
Mahomes wins tomorrow night. Brady.
That's what I was about to say, Alan. That's what I'm about to say. He didn't let me finish.
Get off the GOAT discussion.
He didn't even let him talk. He didn't even finish. Oh my God, Frank, I'm sorry.
CJ, control your co-host. You asked me the question, dang it.
I'm sorry,
now,
Frank.
As I was
He's got
saying,
a very short leash. Continue.
I think the Chiefs are about to win the Super Bowl tomorrow. I think the Eagles are the better team. I think Saquon Barkley is probably their best player right now on their team, and he has a chance to run all over the place against a Chiefs defense that's struggling in the playoffs against the run. They're giving up 4.9 yards per carry, and against a O-line like that and a running back like that, it's going to be a little tough to maybe stop. But the inevitable is the inevitable. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. They're going to find a way to keep it close, or they're going to find a way to get it done. History's on their side. I feel bad for my boy Shep out there. Shout out Matthew Shepard. Diehard.
He'll be fine.
I don't feel bad at all for Shep. He's married and has a wife. He's fine.
He's a Cowboys fan.
He's fine.
She'll be fine.
That's also true. She's a Cowboys fan.
I wonder how they make that work. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to them.
Interesting. Yeah.
Thank God. But
right. Interesting. Now, Frank, anything else you'd like to add, or is that all you have to say on the matter as of right now?
No, yeah, I think I'm just expecting a good game tomorrow. Obviously, 2 years ago it was a high-scoring game and ended up 38-35. I'm expecting a game similar in that realm, maybe in the middle of low-scoring and high-scoring, maybe in the 20s. But I do think it's going to be a back-and-forth game. I think the Chiefs are going to come out with a great game plan, but I just think that if the Eagles give even Mahomes a little ounce of breathing room in the last minutes of the fourth quarter, he's going to make him pay. That's just who he is as a player.
Now, Frank, Allen has this note here about the refs being on the sides of the Chiefs. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a damn NFL game all season. I know that the Chiefs have
under a rock.
I know the Chiefs had a really good record, but it doesn't seem to me when it looked like they had a lot of close scores, a lot of 1-point wins, 2-3-point wins, a lot of really low scoring games. I don't know anything about these refs and if they tend to side with the Chiefs. Is that something that you've noticed? Have you noticed that when it comes to these really late, close, tight games, do the refs seem to tend to side with the Chiefs in these calls that could mean the difference between a win and a loss?
I don't mean to brag, CJ. I mean, obviously, I'm a Niners fan. A lot of Niner fans on Twitter talks about the refs and the Chiefs and how they've obviously don't call a lot of holding calls on Kansas City and a lot of things that kind of go underneath the rug at certain points of the game. But that has been a constant thing this year. Now, personally, I don't want to be that person that always constantly blames the refs. At the end of the day, do the refs help the Chiefs out a little bit by not calling a lot of plays? Sure, maybe. They did the same thing with New England. They do that with all the great teams. As a matter of fact, though, I do think, regardless of that being the case, all these teams have had a chance to win these games, and they've just hurt themselves when Kansas City has not. So I don't want to use the whole refs or on the Chiefs' side as an excuse. The Eagles are just going to have to find a way to move past that. They're going to be in this game. They're talented enough to be in this game, and we're just going to see what happens tomorrow.
Well, here's what I think, Frank, and hear me out, okay? Of course, the refs are on the Chiefs' side. When you have the best player on the planet, the refs are going to be on your side. Same with Jordan, same with Kobe, same with Brady, same with LeBron. When you're one of the GOATs of the game, the refs are going to be on your side. So it's not anything different from the past. If people watch sports their whole life, it's been the same. So it's not anything new.
No, you're right, Alan. I agree with that. That goes back to like what I was saying about like the refs, I do agree that they don't call as many stuff on the Chiefs because of the likelihood, you got a Mahomes and you got Andy Reid, you got this great team. But even with that being said, there's still in a lot of one-possession games where teams, despite that, have chances to still win. So that's why I'm like on the fence of, yes, it's true, but that's not the reason why teams are losing against them, in my opinion, at least. So,
Moving away from the Chiefs and the Eagles for a second, the NFL awards were recently released, right?
Correct.
Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, who lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, was named the NFL's most valuable player. His first one of his career, if I'm not mistaken. Do you feel? I know my co-host feels some type of way about this.
I would say, hold on, can I go?
Oh God!
I think Lamar Jackson was robbed. I mean, I think no.
Were you gonna say that anyways? I don't even know why you asked me for permission.
Actually, no, I take that back. Not Lamar. I think Saquon Barkley was robbed. He had one of the greatest seasons he's ever had as running back in the history of this game. He was robbed. All I'm saying.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue with that. Saquon did have an insane season, right? Rushed for over 2,000 yards.
He almost broke the record.
Almost broke the record. Had an extra game to do it, but regardless, almost broke the record. Frank, what do you make of the MVP award? Was Lamar snubbed? Was Saquon snubbed? Did Josh Allen rightfully win it? What's your take?
I think all three were really deserving. Obviously, in my opinion, the MVP as of late has been a quarterback award. A player that wins Offensive Player of the Year is usually the best non-quarterback that probably should win MVP that gets it, and that was obviously Saquon. And he did have an all-time great season. You look at the team around him, too. The O-line, he has the best O-line in the business. That helps a lot as well. But in my opinion, if Christian McCaffrey didn't get it last year, I was expecting Saquon to not get it either, especially when you have guys like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen playing at the level that they did this year. And getting to that point, I do think that it was fair in terms of voting. I actually like the fact that Josh Allen did win MVP. Lamar Jackson had 41 touchdowns, only 4 picks. He had 45 total.
4 picks? Wow.
45 total touchdowns. Rushed for a ton. I think he had like 700 rushing yards. So he had a great season. But I think Josh Allen also accumulated. He threw for 28 touchdowns. Only had 6 picks. But he also rushed for like 12. So he accumulated for like 40 touchdowns in total, and the supporting cast around him was a lot different than Baltimore had. I mean, Lamar had the second best running back in the league in Derrick Henry running alongside him to make things more efficient for him. He obviously had a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver in Zay Flowers. Josh Allen didn't have that. He did have a really good offensive line, though, that a lot of people do not talk about, that allowed the run game to be as efficient as it was, as James Cook is a very underrated running back. He is not on the level as Derrick Henry, but he is a good running back. However, I think based on the level of talent around both parties and for Josh Allen to put up the numbers they did, because before the season, a lot of people did not have the Bills going as far as they did, as well as ESPN putting out an article saying that Josh Allen was the most overrated player in the league, which was insane. So, in other words, I think that this was just a fitting award for him to get after the type of season he had with the amount of talk that was being said about him and the Bills before the season even began. So, I think it was the right decision.
You said Lamar Jackson, he threw, now again, I hardly watched any NFL games this year. Lamar Jackson threw 41 touchdowns, like passing?
Correct.
Or was that total?
Like 40 passing?
He threw 41 passing touchdowns, and he rushed for 4 more. So he had 45.
Frank, I don't believe you, Frank.
Wow. So 45 in total.
What's your sources, Frank?
My sources.
The NFL website, I'm
NFL,
sure.
ESPN.com. NFL.
ESPN.com.
Frank? Man, I can't believe what you're saying right now, Frank.
Frank,
What do
you're
you
gonna have
mean?
to excuse my
I'm
co-host.
just speaking
You're
the stats.
going to have to excuse
Numbers
He had
lie,
41
Frank.
passing
Numbers
touchdowns.
lie.
You're going to have to excuse
The numbers
LeBron.
don't
He
lie.
literally just
He had
likes to
41
argue for
passing
the sake of arguing.
touchdowns. 4 picks.
I agree with you. I believe you, Frank. I know you do a lot of hard work and you get your sources verified. Don't listen to him. But last subject of the NFL that I kind of want to touch on. Boys, and if there's any other questions you have, Alan, feel free. But I want to hear y'all's Super Bowl games, final predictions for what you think the final score might be. Starting with, we'll start with you, Frank. What do you got? What's your prediction for the big game tomorrow? or on Sunday?
I got the Chiefs winning by a final score of 30-27. I think the Eagles are going to start off fast. I think Saquon's going to have a monster game. I just think the Eagles are going to make just enough bad decisions to hurt themselves to allow the Chiefs to stay in it. I think Steve Spagnuolo is going to put a good game plan together in the second half to create a lot of blitz packages to fool Jalen Hurts, who has struggled against the blitz this year. And in those key moments, I think Mahomes is going to take advantage of those and put themselves in a position at the end of the game to historically get the first three-peat ever in NFL history.
Who's your MVP, Frank?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Although the unsung hero will probably be Chris Jones because he's always the unsung hero in the Super Bowl. I would know as a Niners fan.
It's going to be him and Jalen Carter, so it's going to be a tough matchup for sure.
Correct, yes. They're both monsters.
LeBron, what's your final score?
Oh, where do I start?
Okay, you don't.
I've been toying with this my predictions for the last month or so. Well, like.
Just give me the score. Just give me the score.
I've been going back and forth between. First it was the Chiefs, then it was the Eagles the last couple of days. But I come to think, what does the NFL want? You know, my thinking is.
Can you just give me the damn score?
Okay.
Can you just tell me what you think
the script is out there? So, prediction first half, 10-21. Eagles are up.
Wow, you're going halves. Okay.
First half. People are like, oh, wow, what's happening to the Chiefs? Eagles are going to be fine. Nope. Chiefs come back to win. 34-31, Chiefs, MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
34-31?
34-31.
I'm so happy that that's not going to happen, but you're probably going to get the team right. Now, let's move on to CJ.
Yes. Thank you, Franklin.
Watch me be right. Clip is right now. 34-31, Chiefs.
No, it's not just 34-31. You said 21-10 before half. We got this on clip.
Yeah, that's going to happen too. Clip that too. 21-10, Eagles at the half.
At the half?
At the half.
If that happens, we will be clipping this, so don't you worry. My prediction, as much as I would love to see a high-scoring game. I love high-scoring games, especially in the Super Bowl. They're always fun. I agree with you, Frank. I think the Eagles are going to start off hot, but I think the Chiefs are ultimately going to gain back control of the game as they seem to have done all year. They're going to set the tempo, and I'm going to say the final score will be 24-21 Chiefs.
And I'll just first end it with this, CJ, if you were done talking.
I was just going to say 24-21 Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, your Super Bowl MVP. Chiefs, Kansas City becomes the first NFL franchise to three-peat in the Super Bowl. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I was just going to end it with this. If this was any other team the Eagles were playing, they're going to win tomorrow. I even think that they are the better team tomorrow. It's just Kansas City.
Agreed.
They're the best overall team. Defense,
you're right.
Offense, running back, quarterback, but still up there.
No, I agree with both of you. I think if it were any other team, Eagles, heartbeat. But it's Kansas City, and Kansas City are the new Patriots.
You can't go against Tom Brady. You can't go against Patrick Mahomes.
Excellent. Nope. I couldn't put it better myself, unfortunately. All right, moving on to the NBA. What are we talking about in the NBA again?
Oh, last episode we talked about Luka and LeBron.
Right, Luka and LeBron.
Trade, emergency pod, late night, Shams bomb. Freaking all this. People didn't even think it was a real tweet.
Yeah. That was the tweet that quite literally broke the internet. It was also the trade that rocked the NBA world. Franklin, the Lakers weren't done making moves with Luka. They ended up trading away up and coming rising shooting guard Dalton Knecht to Charlotte in exchange for Mark Williams. I don't know any other moves that the Lakers made, but I also know that the NBA wasn't finished either. You got Kyle Kuzma, Milwaukee. Jimmy Butler ended up going to the Warriors.
Yeah, nobody cared about that.
Right. Big name. So, Frank, I guess, what do you make of the aftermath of just the NBA trade deadline and the chaos that happened in this year's trade deadline?
Well, a couple things. First sip, I think when it comes to the Lakers, obviously it sucks to get rid of Dalton Knecht. He was their best shooter on the team. But obviously Luka talked with front office and wanting a athletic big. Obviously he had that in Dallas with Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford and those boys. So he wanted to bring that aspect to the Lakers because the Lakers were obviously in need of a big man. They got that with Mark Williams. Mark Williams in Charlotte. So it ended up being a great acquisition, and the Lakers are actually on a hot streak right now. Obviously, with Austin Reeves just dropping 45 today, and LeBron James not that long ago.
Austin Reeves dropped 45 today?
That white boy can shoot.
Yeah, Austin Reeves dropped 45 today, and this was without LeBron and Luka
Against
playing.
the Pacers, yep.
Against the Indiana Pacers, who's actually a pretty decent team this year. So, yeah, Lakers are looking to be on fire. But I also wanted to add more stuff. Obviously, I know I didn't really want to talk about the Jimmy Butler Warriors trade, but I just want to add a little nuggets for, like...
You're the damn Warrior.
Yeah, I'm sick of you,
I just wanted to add a
freaking
little
biased
nugget
Warriors
to,
fan.
like, the context behind that.
I don't want no nuggets.
Originally-
I'm not hungry.
Let him cook.
Originally, the Warriors wanted to try to get after Kevin Durant. I think that was actually going to happen. Turns out KD did not want to go back to Golden State, which I don't blame him. It makes me sad as a Warriors fan, and I admit I'm a Warriors fan. It made me sad. But for that, they just settled with – for that afterwards, the Warriors just settled for Jimmy Butler. I think that was just a move to just see what they can make out of this year, because obviously they're just trying to do whatever it takes to make it last with whatever they got with Steph Curry. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It definitely doesn't really move the needle for me, but obviously Jimmy Butler's confidence and competitive spirit and his play is something to be at least curious about, as the stuff that he's done for Miami can't be denied. But I don't know. We'll see. And I have no idea what the guys were in Earth Milwaukee was doing with getting rid of Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. I think they just want to get younger. I actually think they just want to get underneath the second tax apron as well, because Chris Middleton's contract was already expensive to pair with Damian Lillard and Giannis's contract. And I think they get an athletic wing who could also play some pretty good defense. So it's an interesting move. I don't know what that does for Milwaukee in the long run, but I still don't think anybody in the East is getting past Boston. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, there's a different move made by the Cavaliers for DeAndre Hunter.
Oh yeah,
That was a very
they got rid of.
sneaky move.
That's
Very
good.
sneaky
That's
move.
good. Is that your pick, Alan? Because that's actually a really good trade that happened.
That was a
for,
very sneaky move. Athletic wing, they get rid of LeVert. He can score and he can play defense. That's like a perfect player to guard Tatum in the East. Perfect player.
Interesting. That's a very good point to bring up,
I
Alan.
agree
Yeah,
with that too. I think the length is phenomenal for that standpoint.
Yeah, I also realized or just saw the other day that Karis LeVert got moved, but interesting point. I didn't think DeAndre Hunter was that big of an asset, but maybe they see something in him as more of like a defensive prospect
this year.
Oh yeah, fascinating. Good take, Alan. Good take. Now, Franklin, probably the last thing we'll talk about here before we wrap up this show. But speaking of, you touched on Kevin Durant not wanting to go back to Golden State. James Jones talked prior to the game last night against the Jazz to the media, and here's what he had to say regarding the matters around KD and the potential distraction for the team.
There was a report that Kevin was frustrated about his name being out there. Is that something specifically where you believe there can be long-term effects there that you have to tidy up, or is it a situation where you think he's been around long enough where it's been this type of deal for him?
I mean, I would be frustrated too if we want to win, and a lot of the blame, a lot of the noise was around me. I know Kevin understands that. He's human. He's just like everyone else, but he's a hooper and he's a pro and he's been above it his entire career, and so he knows where we stand. He's pivotal for us. He's one of our leaders. He's our all-star, and we need him to continue to be who he is and who he's always been, and he'll help us turn it around.
All right, Frank. So, obviously, people have questions. They're wondering what... Sorry, my co-host is losing it here. He's never been in live production before. But, Frank, I guess, what insight do you have as far as, why Kevin Durant didn't want to go back to Golden State? Alan seems to have a...
He's a snake.
Wow. Alan
Wait,
seems to have
CJ,
his
can you ask the
opinions.
question again? Because I did not hear because Alan.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about him. What, Frank? Do you have any insight as to why Kevin Durant wouldn't want to go back to Golden State? Obviously he has 2 NBA rings from there, 2 Finals MVPs. Why? To me, it's what's wrong with going back to the place where we've had so much success? But maybe there's something more under the surface that we're not seeing.
I mean, obviously there was reports that that him and Steph Curry talked, and he told Steph that it wouldn't feel right to pair back up during this time with everything happening. I also think genuinely Sip, that Kevin Durant might have felt a little, I'm not saying completely, but a little blindsided by trade talks because he likes it in Phoenix and he likes playing with Devin Booker. And even though they're kind of fringing above 500, he still believes that they're talented enough to make a run. Regardless if we believe in that or not, they for sure do. But in terms of like the Golden State Warriors of it all, I mean, obviously the elephant in the room. A lot of people will say, "Oh yeah, Draymond Green," probably after everything that ended with them, and he's just because of that standpoint. I think honestly, as men, they've moved on from that. I don't think it had anything to do with that being a parent.
I mean, if him and LeBron can move on, they can move on.
Exactly.
You know?
So
all
I
I'm
just
saying.
think overall, when it comes down to it, is I remember Kevin Durant talking about his time in OKC and him moving on to Golden State and him basically talking about how he just wanted a fresh scene and basically just wanted to like the way he made it sound like he made it sound as if like he wasn't planning on being in OKC forever anyway. And this is kind of like a situation where I feel like during this time in his career, I feel like he's just moved past Golden State. That was a time in his career and his story, and I think when it comes to going to back to a place that he originally played for, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Whether that's Brooklyn, whether that's OKC, whether that is Golden State, I think he's moved all of that in his past, which I don't blame him. You know, like he's just trying to move forward with his NBA career and his life, and obviously he's probably looking forward to stuff after basketball. But I honestly think he just loves what he has in Phoenix and the players there. But I think, yeah, it just really came down to I think he obviously, too, just wasn't planning on being traded. I don't think he was – like, I caught him by surprise. So, especially the fact of just hearing Golden State, he's just like, nah, I don't – like, his gut reaction is probably like, nah, I don't want to go back there. But after thinking more about it, I think generally he just loves Phoenix and he wasn't planning on wanting to get traded. So, yeah.
Frank, I agree, Frank, but I think there's one big elephant in the room. His big injury back in 2019.
Elephant, is that like an Indian reference? I'm sorry.
That's the first thing you think of?
Continue.
This Persian-looking man right here?
Continue.
Okay. All I'm saying is the elephant in the room, this guy can contain himself. Get this guy out of here, man. All I'm saying, Frank, is the biggest elephant in the room is his injury back in 2019 when he hurt his Achilles. He came back way too early. So I don't think he trusts the medical staff there in Golden State to take care of his health. That's the biggest thing, I would say.
That's an interesting point.
The organization cost him a couple years of his career, set him back. So why would he go back there to that same team?
That's a very interesting conspiracy theory that I did not think about. That's not a bad take. I don't think that's probably the reason why he didn't.
Bad take? That's the right take. What you mean?
He said it's not a bad take.
I said it's not a bad take, Alan.
So what is it?
Not a bad take.
It's just a take. I think it's
take.
an interesting take. But
yeah. I mean, there was reports though that he was willing to maybe go to Miami if that were to happen. And obviously the Timberwolves were trying to make a last-minute push on him, which is insane. I would have loved to see him and Anthony Edwards together. That's just my opinion. I know you wouldn't have liked to see that, Sip. But I think that would have been great for basketball. But, yeah, we didn't get that. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. I would have been sick indeed. But, Franklin, it's a pleasure as always to have you on the show. That still has no name. By the way, if y'all have any ideas for a name, let us know. I'm thinking maybe Brown Squared or 3 Shades of Brown or, brownies and Slim. I don't know. Like, maybe I should stay away from just like the brown names. I don't know, Alan, if you have anything to say or add.
Why are we excluding black?
We're not excluding black. It's just nothing's wrong with black. It's just we're just Alan's brown. I'm brown. You're also brown technically.
I'm black.
Alan's the new black.
I am black.
What do you think about that?
BLACK black.
What do you think about that?
Brown is the new black.
What do you think about that?
That's the name of the show.
No, black.
There's black?
I'm not against it.
Well, something with
a
the
show
with
called
black
There's Black?
in it.
Huh? What'd you say? I can't hear you. You sound upset.
All right, I have a name for the show. This is a pretty controversial name right here.
Maybe you shouldn't say it then.
Mud Boys.
Oh.
Is that racist?
A little bit.
I don't know. Let's let the audience decide for that. Cause
yeah.
I don't know.
So, Alan, is there anything you want to say to the audience?
Alan's about to get canceled.
Yeah, for real. It was only a matter of
Second
time.
show. Oh,
It was
man.
only a matter of time. I knew
I'm
this.
turning cooking right now. What the heck? Okay, I would say, comment what you want to see the show to be called in the comments, in the chat.
Sure. We'll come up with some ideas. We'll be talking Franklin Miller III. Pleasure as always. This is your co-host, LeBron James,
Yes, sir.
a.k.a. Alan Jacob. I'm your host, CJ Chides. Until next time, good night. Or good evening. Or good morning, wherever you're watching this.
Good day?
Yeah, good day if you're in Australia. Farewell. All right, that's it.
Great episode.